Hello, I'm joined today by a group of teachers at the junior school at Talbot Heath, and they're going to give me an insight into what it's like to be a pupil at this wonderful school. I'm joined by Jess Leaper, a Year 4 teacher and English lead, and Sue Verstage, who's IT lead and a junior school teacher. It's lovely to meet you. I'm wondering, Jess and Sue, how would you describe the junior school to someone who perhaps, doesn't know it or hasn't visited before?
So our junior school is a lovely school. We've got a pre-prep department and a junior department. From Year 4 onwards, the girls are taught by specialist teachers in English, maths, science, IT, music, PE, the list goes on, which is fantastic. The girls get to come over to the senior school as well for some of their lessons. It's a very vibrant, happy, buzzing school, which is just fantastic.
And we're so lucky that we've got such fantastic grounds here. We've got woods, the playground in the pre-prep is amazing with the equipment that the girls have to play on. Yes. And we're extremely lucky that we have one-to-one iPads. So altogether we're very lucky. It's such a lovely place to work.
And Sue, so you're in charge of IT at the junior school, so I'd really like to ask you a bit more about that. I do know that Talbot Heath, and particularly the junior school, did incredibly well during lockdown, in terms of remote education. Can you give me an idea of how you went about it and what you did?
Well, again, because we were already one-to-one iPad, it was so easy to transform from in-school to home learning. All we had to really introduce was a few techniques like using Google Classroom, which we hadn't really, they'd used it a lot in the senior school, but we hadn't used it quite so much in the juniors. But they took to it like duck to water because they're so used to doing that sort of thing. And some of the work that the children produced was absolutely amazing because we'd use things like Book Creator and other apps like Pic Collage, things like that. They had the creativity to be able to produce the work in the way that they wanted to do so. So rather than just doing it in the classroom where it was on paper, they had the technology that they could use to produce such fantastic work.
I was going to ask you how the girls responded to it. They obviously responded incredibly well.
Yes, and our curriculum didn't really change very much at all because we were able to just produce the lessons online rather than in the classroom.
So does that mean that the school day was as it would be actually in school?
Yes, some lessons that we did schedule out early so that they could then choose what order they wanted to do their lessons in, but predominantly they were given the lessons were scheduled for the time that they would normally be doing so in school. It
sounds wonderful. And what did parents say about the way the girls responded?
Oh, they were thrilled. We had such good responses from the parents that they were thrilled that we could carry on in the way that we did.
And Jess, I wanted to ask you as well about reading. I visited your library, which was lovely. Are the girls voracious readers here?
Yes, they are. They really love reading and they love recommending books and they tell me about all the books they've read at home, and we try and get them to do book reviews every fortnight so they can share the book reviews amongst their peers. So if someone's struggling to read a book, struggling to choose a book, someone else in the class could recommend one to them. We have reading lessons and we bring in reading into class text. Each class will have a book that they're reading as a class, and we base some of our writing on that as well, doing drama. Or cross-curricularly, we bring in the class text, they might do some work on it in humanities. For example, in Year 5, we're reading Street Child in English, which is a book about a Victorian boy, and then in humanities, they do the Victorians as their topic. So we try and link it cross-curricularly, which is brilliant. And they go to the library fortnightly as well to choose books, and it's open at lunchtimes for them to go. And the Year 6 pupils are very lucky; they get to come over to the fabulous senior school library as well. So linking the juniors with the senior school there as well.
They must love that. Yeah, then, sort of being very grown up.
Very grown up. Yeah.
And how about handwriting? Is that something? Because when I came, I was very struck by very fantastic handwriting.
Beautiful handwriting, yes. We introduce handwriting all the way through, starting in Year 1. As they go into the juniors, they can progress onto a pen, and they get their pen licence in assembly, which is very exciting, which means they can then use an ink pen.
We do work hard on the presentation as well.
It's something that they get very proud of.
So even though we do the digital side, we're still very strong with paperwork.
I'd now like to welcome Emma Stewart, the Early Years Foundation Stage Lead, Lauren Marks, who's Assistant Head Pastoral and teaches PE, and Jo Brown, who's Year 5 Science Lead and also teaches PE. So starting with you, Emma, I'm just really interested to hear a bit more about how you help the very youngest children settle into school, because it's a big step, isn't it, when they arrive?
Absolutely. We have quite a few children who come through our kindergarten, and obviously for them the whole process is a little bit easier because they've seen us in the playground and we've built relationships already, and there have been lots of opportunities to work together as a department. For the children who have come in from other nurseries, they become a bit of a focus for us. And in our first few weeks of starting school in September, we try to have a really fluid approach. The most important thing for us is that those children feel safe and happy, have built relationships with grown-ups, know their environment and are safe in their environment before we start worrying about teaching them. We plan lots and lots of multi-sensory fun things to do, but we're very much guided by our children. If our children aren't ready to do something, then we put things aside because maybe we need to deal with something different. We try and make sure that we're very responsive to how the children are in that week.
So presumably staff build very close relationships with the parents. So homeschool communication is strong here.
Absolutely. So from the start, we realised that parents know their children better than anyone, so they are the biggest source of information for us, and we try and engage them we've got an online learning journal so that the parents can add work to, we add work to, they add work to, we add video clips. We want the parents to be fully on board with their child's learning and what we can do to the next steps, so what we can do to improve their child's learning, what we can do to make their child happier, what we can do to make their time at school even more productive. So it's very, very important to us that we have that consistent ongoing communication. It's not just us teachers to parents, it's also parents to teachers. They inform us as well of their children's development.
And Lauren, parents have told me that this is a very nurturing environment for children, and obviously having visited the school, I know that pastoral care is an absolutely sort of fundamental part of life in the junior school. So I just wondered if you can tell me a bit about how you deliver this and how you get that sort of message of encouraging the girls to look out for each other.
Sure. Okay. There's lots of things that we do in terms of it's a whole broad range of ways we do this, and I think first and foremost, again linking to every other area really, is that the children feel safe, they feel happy. With that, they then kind of grow in their confidence and they look out for one another, and we kind of instill this in them through our PSHE programs. So we talk a lot, we talk a lot about kindness, respecting one another, looking out for each other, the fact that everybody is different, and that's a big thing that we discuss, and everybody reacts to different situations in their way. Each class has their own tutor or class teacher, so that's first and foremost their first point of contact. Mm-hmm. So they see them every day, so the girls can then talk to them if they've got any concerns or any worries, and sometimes if they have concerns about each other, so they might go to the teacher and say, well, my friend isn't quite herself today, she's feeling a little bit sad, what can we do to help? And we try and actively encourage them to look out for each other. They have buddy systems on the playground, particularly if we've got any new pupils coming in, we buddy them up pretty quickly just to make sure that they've got somebody that they can go to if they need to. So they feel that confidence, they feel safe. So we do that. They've got their class teacher. We've also got a structure in place where I'm the assistant head pastoral, but they don't see me every single day, but I can also help the form tutor or certain individuals if they need a little bit more help and a little bit more pastoral care. We've got an ELSA programme as well, so some of our pupils, we might find that they need a bit more emotional support, and we have some qualified ELSA assistants, so emotional literacy support assistants, and they can have a devised programme for that pupil. So whether they're going through crisis of confidence, they're lacking a bit of self-esteem, they're struggling to mix socially, our ELSAs can come in and help with that as well.
I have to ask you about the STEAM Hub. We're obviously sitting in the STEAM Hub, and it is totally just breathtaking, really. So, Jo, I wanted to ask you a bit about, the junior girls. I mean, how much do they use the STEAM Hub, and are they getting very excited about science and technology?
They are. So we have an amazing design teacher, and he sees all of the girls through junior school. So they have specialist design lessons, also have interdisciplinary days. So they may well have a topic. Year 5 are doing the Titanic, so we're planning an interdisciplinary day to link their learning through from their English to their science to design, to develop all of those skills. There's many a rocket being ordered at the moment, and just ideas that really engage them. Science-wise, we've come in and other subjects as well. So we've got an immersive screen and floor, which is incredible. You can bring their learning to life. So we have that traditional textbook or traditional learning of your scientific diagrams and everything like that. And then we've immersed them in a bloodstream, and they've seen holograms of hearts, and it's amazing how much they remember because it's taught in so many different ways. It's just a brilliant space that we're developing and linking into our curriculum as we go.
I mean, it does seem incredibly exciting, because I think the day I came, I saw, I think they were learning about the bloodstream, and they were running around, you know, sort of along the veins and the arteries and things. So, I mean, that obviously they loved it as well. I mean, you're finding that they're really enthusiastic about it.
They are, but it's also the retention in their learning afterwards by seeing the different parts of blood from that lesson. They remember it and they can link it to that traditional learning, but it's done in such a different way that they don't forget it. So you're supporting a lot of different learning styles by including those different facilities that we've got. We're incredibly lucky.
I think completely. It goes back to that every pupil is different, and every pupil learns in a different way. Everybody has different partial needs, you know. So we're helping with that. So we're just fortunate to have these facilities to be able to go through those different types of learners and actually really get them engaged. It's wonderful to see.
I'd like to introduce you to Year 1 teacher Nikki Matheson and Year 2 teacher Claire Diamond. First of all, I just wanted to ask you both teach 4 to 6-year-olds, and Claire, you've been here for 23 years, and Nikki, I know you're in your second year teaching here. Can you give me an idea of how you balance the academic sort of demands of the junior school with allowing, or giving children the chance to have fun and be creative and do music and drama and art? How do you get that balance?
I'd say that we're really fortunate with our timetable. So our timetable has a really good spread of all of the core subjects like English and maths, but equally we value the foundation subjects, if you like, such as music and art and drama and all of those things. And we try to combine them as well quite a lot. For example, when we teach Florence Nightingale, we'll be doing lots of drama and role play, which will then feed into our writing in English. So they complement each other, really.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So might they dress up as Florence Nightingale?
Absolutely. And we've got a wonderful bunker here. I don't know if you remember it when you were here.
Yes, I remember that.
So we take the girls down there so they can really immerse themselves in what it feels like to be in a hospital type of environment that would be suitable for that time. So yeah, it really lends itself well to that experience.
And we do a lot of fun things with the interactive whiteboard as well, so that is a big asset to our teaching as well. The children like doing dance routines, so if we're doing maths, learning the times table, we actually use different dance routines for them, which we show on the interactive whiteboard, and that really helps them with their learning as well.
With STEAM actually being in this building, Mr. Morris, he's got the most incredible ideas, bank of ideas. So we might say to him, we're doing a project on this, a topic on this. Is there anything you can do to help? So we were doing a project on superheroes, and then we came over here for the day and we made superhero puppets, and then we did some green screen and animation, and so we've got the benefit of all of that as well, which makes it really come alive.
That sounds great. So as you say, so it's really active learning. And do you find that works really well here?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So it keeps it interesting and fun and engaging.
Yeah. And another thing I've been struck by, having visited before, is your outdoor learning. I mean, I know you've got amazing facilities and amazing environment, and you use that a lot, don't you?
Yes, so we've got lots of different outdoor areas as well, which we're developing. But there's obviously the forest school area, which the children have used for a number of years now. We've also got a garden area outside the front of pre-prep, which we were growing vegetables with up until the beginning of the summer. And we can aim to continue we want to become self-sufficient and grow our own sort of fruit and vegetables and things like that with the children.
So what might they do in the outdoor classroom?
In the outdoor classroom, there's all sorts of different activities. So if you want to do, say, a maths activity, you can arrange it so that there's different resources that you can use it from the outdoor classroom to help you with like learning maths and stuff.
And some people might not know what Forest School is, and I know you have Forest School for all year groups, don't you, in the junior school?
From kindergarten up through to year 6.
Yes, and so what sort of things might they do with that, and how often does it happen?
Forest School is basically child-led, so there might be a couple of activities, but basically the children go out there and they can do what they want, so it's their choice. So there'll be maybe saws, whittling, fire, so they can do fire lighting and stuff. So there's a range of activities, or they can just go off and play. And when we first started doing Forest School, it was very much kind of like you wanted to tell the children to do this and that, but now it's kind of like you just stand back, you help the children.
They're really sensible, they really listen.
They know the limits.
Yes, and we have a lovely lady that helps us help the children, so supports us and how to help, because you tend to want to kind of help them more with the drill than you need to, and she's like, oh, actually they know how to do it, you just have to hold it, so it's just becoming helping them to become confident in themselves out there with all the tools and equipment as well.
The teachers and resilience. I mean, I've been with reception once as a 4-year-old who was trying to do the fire lighting. She spent about an hour trying to do it, and at the end she managed it, but for a 4-year-old to keep on task, she was just totally in the zone that she had to do it, and she did.
And so what would the benefits be then, that she could sort of stuck with it? And
she stuck with it, teaching her resilience, keep going, don't give up, and she was rewarded in the end by setting light to a piece of cotton wool. It's simple as that.
It sounds very exciting, it really does. Yes. I mean, I was going to come on to ask you really what you think the best things about being a pupil at Talbot Heath at this, between the ages of 3 and 11 are. I mean, presumably it's chances like that.
I would say our environment, the environment that we can offer the children.
Girls, you naturally would think, that would be what boys would want to do, but our girls love it. There's no fear. They've got no fear because they're doing it all the time, aren't they?
And we try and teach them that through our lessons as well. It's not to give up, just, try and do your best.
Yeah, I definitely think resilience really runs through, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I know you take a lot of care in sort of the transition stage, from one year to the next. I mean, how do you do that?
We have transition meetings towards the end of our year with the children. So currently Nikki's class came to my class. So we had transition meetings where we went through about each child. But even today we've had conversations going, has this helped, or have you done something with this child?
Touching base, and I think as well from going from early years to year 1, we're really mindful that it's a very different curriculum, so it's, they have more opportunities to do play-based learning, so we make sure that when they transition into year 1 that we do that really smoothly, so there's still that little bit of opportunity to do that when they first start into year 1, so it's not a really big shock to them.
I mean, what's coming across to me as well is that how well you know the children. I mean, is that a really crucial part of it too?
Yeah, you get to know the children
really well. And it's the benefit of having smaller class sizes as well, and working so closely together as a team.